mean, I think the original idea why we tried to come down was I think it was an encouragement to really see what was going on at the front line. But the strategy unit, we tend to try and do a lot of visits anyway, but tends to focus on the policy areas that we're working on. So I think what we were trying to do here was kind of just get away from just trying to find out what we're working on. We're just trying to get a better idea of what goes on at the front line, you know, how workers in local government interact with citizens, etc., and really just get a sense of their day and how that kind of goes through. So
cool.
No, it was a really interesting day on just really finding out what happens in waste management. I think me as the person on the street, I mean, I kind of know like my bins out like once a week and my recycling out once a week, but I kind of don't really know what happens next. And what was interesting to see was really what actually happens on the street when all that gets picked up, but also really what happens behind the scenes to kind of organise that, what kind of respond to that. And I think what I found was interesting was the amount of contact that they actually have with citizens, really. So it's not just the reactive stuff when somebody brings up to complain about their bin hasn't been dealt with, but also just the proactive stuff that they do to kind of educate and provide information and the outreach work that they do. And I thought that was quite interesting because that was more than just trying to give a sense of what you can and cannot recycle, but I think also trying to get people to change their behaviour. And I thought that was really interesting actually, because there seemed to be a lot of really active work. And I think also the other great thing I really picked up was people really enthusiastic about their work, really were motivated about trying to improve recycling, reduce waste minimisation, but also coming up with lots of new ideas and really looking to improve the service. So. What was really interesting to see was the kind of the working with the citizen, really. Again, I think we in the centre don't have that much dealings with citizens, but also we think of it in a certain way, and I think we think a lot of our communications tends to be reactive, and I think we can try and do more about where we can be proactive to not just respond to their concerns, their needs, etc., but proactive in the sense of trying to change behaviours and change cultures. And actually a lot of times people want to do it. So in this case, there's a lot of people we spoke to today that do want to recycle more, etc., but actually just don't know what they can and can't do, and just are actually really interested in the information, and what are the different options that they've got, and what can they do with their leftover food, for example, and there's so many options around that. So I think that is certainly something I'll take away. I think the other thing is just seeing that, again, I think from the different visits done to local government, that there are a lot of passionate, motivated people working here who really are motivated about working in their area, passionate about improving their cause, and that's certainly something of a positive lesson I'll take away.
The life in day of WLO, as you say, it's varied every single day. We do a lot of reactive and proactive interaction with the residents. You get phone calls from residents if they've got any problems or just any queries in general, and one of the WLOs will go out and actually meet with those people to discuss those issues and make sure they're okay, or discuss any complaints. This can also be done over the phones. They have loads of phone calls as well. We also do quite a lot of proactive education of the residents. We put on a lot of events around the city, and we had a big green grotto last year where we all dressed up quite stupidly in elf costumes. It was good fun, and educated the kids, and whilst the kids were occupied with Santa, we could talk to their parents. So lots of fun interactive events. I took Ravi out door stepping today. We went through to some flats blocks that we know aren't using their recycling bins very well at the moment. So we just went round and knocked on their doors and said, did you know you have a recycling bin, and gave them a free bag that the council issues to all flat blocks, so they can just keep reusing the bag to take to their recycle bin. And when you generally go out like that proactively, people have questions to ask you, and you just inform them as much as you can and hope that they sort of spread the word as well. So yeah, it's mainly the WLO role is all about education, but that is proactive and reactive. Most of the time, you'd actually be surprised how much waste management is an emotive topic amongst the residents. We recently did a survey and had a 25% response rate, which no one sort of thought we would get. And not just people being really angry, some people being really happy. But generally, when we go out as well, they are really happy to have someone from the council standing on their doorstep. You know, that they've called up the day before because they have a problem with their recycling, like their recycling was missed and they don't know why. And the next day you've got someone from the council standing on the doorstep explaining it to them face to face. And yeah, I think it's a really good front for the council to show that we do that. We don't just sit in our offices and put policies around and push bits of paper. We are active, we're out there in the community, and I think they really do appreciate that, and they really do appreciate the service that the WLOs offer.